Hey friends, we're back with another episode of Hot News at My House, which, it's going pretty okay, so we're going to keep doing it for a little while. So let's keep going on with the news, because we got some Ryzen news, we got some RTX 3090 news, as well as a whole host of other things that we could talk about in today's episode of Hot News. So let's do that after we talk about today's video sponsor. Hey friends, today's video is brought to you by Skillshare. In case you haven't heard of them before, and the many times that they've sponsored our video, Skillshare is an online learning community where you can just gain new skills, endeavor into new creative adventures, or learn how to be the best you that you could possibly be right now, which is actually what I've taken to, which is why this class from Thomas Frank, Real Productivity, How to Build Habits That Last, has helped me a lot. I've just found that in my downtime, obviously with everything going on right now, I just needed to find an outlet for that, and building a habit of continually improving myself has absolutely done it. I've been running for the past over 2.5 months straight because I've finally managed to build that habit into my routine, and this could potentially help you with that as well. Or you could look into the whole host of other classes that they have, and things like graphic designs, freelance and entrepreneurship, illustration, creative writing, whatever you could potentially want to endeavor into as a creative expression for what's going on in you right now. You can check out Skillshare for that, or how to make the best you that you could possibly be, which is what I'm trying to do right now. And listen here, more than affordable. Less than $10 a month for an annual membership for Skillshare Premium. But if you use our link in the video description, you'll get 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free if you're one of the first 1,000 people to click the link. 2 months of free learning, free growth, free development, free exploration into your creative endeavors as a way of expressing yourself, or joining a community of lifelong learners who might want to encourage you on that journey. So check out Skillshare at the link in the video description. Again, the first 1,000 of you get 2 months for free, so do it. So let's talk about the first big story of the day, which is that your Ryzen chips may die faster than they otherwise would have because motherboard manufacturers are ruining everything, and they're slipping in extra power profiles that you didn't actually know and they weren't reporting. This is all coming out because Hardware Info updated their program to indicate whether or not motherboards are power reporting deviating from the standard power reporting that's happening on AMD. So basically, there's a bit of tomfoolery going around about shifting power enhancements to make Ryzen chips perform faster than they would if they were performing within spec. And so that's creating a little bit of an issue where there's a power deviation going on in the general scheme of things. Now, how much this actually benefits AMD hasn't really remained to be seen. There's a lot of talk about the fact that AMD doesn't actually approve of this type of modifying the power delivery to the chips by the motherboard without properly reporting it, whereas Intel does this all of the time. So I've seen some calls in the comments that like motherboard reviewers are going to have to turn this off, but if it's on every motherboard, then is it really big of a deal because everybody's going to get the same stock experience out of the box? And so isn't that how we should be showing things? That's kind of the general indication. However, that's nothing compared to this Tom's Hardware headline, which is Ryzen burnout, AMD board power cheats may shorten CPU lifespan, dialing up the power dials down CPU lifespan, basically alluding, or it's highly suggesting the fact that doing all of this, having this feature enabled on your motherboard, could potentially kill your AMD Ryzen CPU. But fear not, we got Dr. Ian Cutress over on Twitter walking us through the fact that this probably isn't such a big deal, talking about how electromigration isn't such a major thing that happens in CPUs these days, saying that sure, maybe it'll degrade your CPU lifespan a little bit, but we're talking 1% in 10 years instead of 1% in 15 years, which isn't a huge deal. He expresses his displeasure at the Tom's Hardware article, especially the title, which is a little inflammatory, and saying for AMD users, it's a nothing burger, nothing that you should actually really pay attention to. So Dr. Ian Cutress not seeming like this is a big issue, so we're not going to make much more of this than it actually is. We can, however, plug his YouTube channel, Tech Potato. In case you're interested in watching videos from a very well-respected veteran in the tech PC space, you should absolutely check it out. I'll leave a link in the video description. You can check out Tech Potato. Dr. Ian Cutress, obviously doing a lot of work for AnonTech over the years. He has been a go-to source for reliability on a bunch of different things. So you can check that out. But let's also check out some RTX 30 series stuff, because there's more information coming out. Obviously, we talked about in Monday's episode of Hot News how we had the RTX 3080 Shroud, and we're going to confirm apparently that this is actually really real, and NVIDIA is really upset that that got leaked out. But Igor's lab over from Tom's Hardware in Germany is giving us some more behind the scenes information, which again, take with a huge grain of salt. I'm not sure we can trust this. However, the specs are too good to kind of not talk about. So you can take a look. We have a breakdown of the RTX 3070, RTX 3080, and then the RTX 3090, or potentially the RTX 3080 Ti. It's not quite sure what it's going to be called. There's some indication that it would replace the Titan and that the 3080 takes the Ti space. And so they're shifting it again, which is kind of odd. But the specs indicate that the 3070 will have 10 gigabytes of the not yet announced GDDR6X memory. The 3080 would have 11 gigabytes and the 3090 would have a staggering 24 gigabytes. The 3090 being on a 384-bit bus, the 3080 being on a 352-bit bus, and the 3070 being on a 320-bit bus, all coming in with TDPs of 320 and 350 watts, which could help to explain why the cooler is so crazy. It has to dissipate a lot of heat. NVIDIA is getting the performance out of this by actually increasing the TDP and just making sure it powers all of the friggin' power it can do. That's my sentence, and I'm sticking to it. It can power the power. And then as far as outputs, what we have here, 3 DisplayPort and HDMI, but only on the highest end 3090 will we see NVLink, which makes sense. NVIDIA has been heavily moving away from multi-GPU for several years. I mean, it was the 10 series where they finally got rid of 3 and 4 cards, and then they kind of brought it back, and it was like this weird locked thing anyways. And then with obviously the 20 series, they've only made it on 2070 and up, and now it seems like they're going to restrict it even further if this Igor's lab reference is anything to go by. However, I did mention that NVIDIA is kind of upset about this, according to the Igor's lab report, saying that a lot of people at NVIDIA also found out about what the cards look like from this leak. They had no idea, and now they're trying to verify who it came from through Foxconn and BYD, who are responsible for making the shrouds and assembling the cards, and trying to find out who was the person who's responsible for leaking the leaks. I'm so sorry if they catch you. Thank you for providing good internet content. I don't know if it was necessarily worth your job or whatever thing that NVIDIA is going to do for you. I'd put you in a room, hold your eyes open, tickle you with graphics cards, and just have you watch Jensen on stage for hours saying it just works over and over and over again. Oh, wait, we did that video. You can check out our 10 hours of Jensen saying it just works right up there. It has surprisingly way more views than I ever thought I was going to get. However, also, one more thing from the Igor's lab report, the shrouds that we saw for the next-gen reference cards are going to cost $150 to produce by themselves, which means the cards could be hecka expensive. And if NVIDIA is moving them up a tier, the 3080 would cost $1,200, the 3070 would be $700, and the 3090 would be at Titan level pricing. So that would create a really, really expensive place to be, and cards might get even more expensive. But if they're shifting the names, then it's fine, because technically things didn't get more expensive. They just moved the names around. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Kind of like when Intel started introducing the i9 on the mainstream desktop. The i9-9900K is literally just what an i7 should be. And they didn't want to call the i3s the new Pentium. So I don't know what's going on there. Naming schemes are weird, but 3090 Ti, 3080 Ti, 3080, whatever we're going to call it. Hopefully some more information soon. I've heard some people comment in our video that we released on Monday that maybe NVIDIA is going to simultaneously launch these with Cyberpunk 2077. That'd be kind of cool. You go to Best Buy, you go to Amazon, you order a copy of Cyberpunk, you order a copy of your 3080 Ti for $2,500, and you don't have a house to sleep in because you spent all your money on it, which, I mean, is kind of what Apple users are normally acquainted with. I mean, they spend all of their money being sheeple. Well, it turns out that Apple is going to make that sheeple stuff a little bit better, because they are planning, at least according to this latest rumor, to announce their own Mac processor at WWDC on June 22nd, which means that they're going to be actually throwing out Intel from their Mac lineup, which is kind of cool. Maybe they won't do it all at once, but introducing their own ARM processors might be a really good thing for Apple in the long run. They've done a really good job with their SoCs in their iPhones, and so producing chips is not something that's foreign to them. It's actually more about just getting off x86 and getting onto an ARM instruction set. But they've kind of already done that, and they've kind of been making the way of merging iPad OS with some like weird version of Mac OS, and same thing with iPhone, with iOS. It's all coming together, and it's the synergy that we've all been waiting for. And just get your Apple chip. Just do that. But in case you want to upgrade to one of these like brand new Mac ARM processor things whenever they come out, apparently Apple is planning on announcing a new Mac trade-in program starting on June 15th, where you can trade in old Macs towards a new computer or get trade-in value at the Apple Store, which is kind of cool. I mean, I can't think of many computer manufacturers that give you a trade-in program towards your next-gen thing, so Apple kind of keeping that all in-house is pretty neat. What do you think of it down below? But what also is pretty neat is Zadak's brand new RGB SSD. Look at this thing. It is a sleek gunmetal looking thing. Actually, in yesterday's live stream where we built our new editing rig based on Comment Lake, we actually used Zadak's new Spark AI 240mm water cooler in our PC. You could check out our live streams at twitch.tv/UFDisciple. Come join us over there. We stream Monday through Friday, and it's a good time. It's good kazoo loving time. So the Zadak Spark SSD has 3,000 megabyte read and write speeds, pretty fast, and Zadak has done RGB SSDs before. They were actually the first RGB 2.5-inch SSD that I ever saw back at Computex, and I believe it was 2017. So shout out to Zadak for making really cool stuff. And shout out to Samsung for making really, really large stuff, because for some reason, Amazon just has a listing of the unannounced 870 QVO series 8 terabyte drive. This obviously isn't the first 8 terabyte drive we've seen. So Brent announced their QLC version of Rocket 8 terabyte previously, and now it looks like Samsung is matching that with their QVO series, which is also QLC based NAND. $900. Looks like it's going to be released on August 24th, according to the Amazon page. In case you want to buy one, we'll leave our Amazon affiliate link down below in the video description, and you could help out the channel a lot. But look at it. It's a pretty 8 terabytes. You could get an 8 terabyte PS4 Pro now. And you can get bamboozled if you thought TSMC was going to go from 5 nanometers to 3 nanometers. What are you thinking? Everybody knows that's not how you count. Well, apparently they're planning a brand new 4 nanometer node to go live in 2023 to be a stopgap between 5 nanometers and 3 nanometers. We talked about in the episode of Hot News yesterday about how they're planning on also introducing 2 nanometers. So it's just all the way down. It's just nanometers all the way down, friends. Which is basically how my backlog goes. It's just constant. I keep not playing games that I buy, and I'm never there. Well, and I'm never actually getting through all of them. Well, Xbox is planning on making that harder for certain people by making their Xbox Digital Direct program a lot easier to redeem game codes in the console game bundles by just clicking a button. Instead of having to enter in all of the redemption codes, you just click a button. So now you can have a greater backlog of games that you'll never actually play, but you got for free, so you're just going to keep them anyways. I mean, who wanted to enter 25 digits? Huh? You don't have time for that. And nobody has time to upload anything. I mean, especially when Cox Internet throttles an entire neighborhood for one person's misuse of their unlimited data package. Apparently, this is coming out after somebody named Mike in Gainesville, Florida, which is where I am, and I have the exact same ISP because there's no other ISP that provides you with gigabit internet anyways. Apparently, he's been using terabytes of data every month for several years, making sure that most of his bandwidth consumption is scheduled between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. However, Cox Communications came out to him and was like, hey, you need to stop or we're going to throttle you. And he was just like, but I didn't change anything. And they were like, well, we're overburdened on our network. And he was like, then why didn't you develop better infrastructure? Why are you penalizing me? I already pay you the $50 a month to get an unlimited data cap, which is unlimited, and now you're going to throttle me. Like, what the heck are you doing? It's kind of ridiculous from Cox. Well, that's not the most ridiculous thing. Like, obviously, they have it within their terms of service that there's like an acceptable use policy, which is obviously just bullcrap because you call something a package unlimited, but it's not really unlimited. And if he didn't increase the amount of data usage he was actually using, his service would be terminated. Well, turns out instead of terminating his usage, they throttled his upload speed from 35 megabits per second to 10 megabits per second. But not only did they throttle him, but they throttled his entire neighborhood, which is just absolutely ridiculous. I guess the exchange that which his line goes through, they were just like, yeah, shut that one off. Nobody else needs higher upload speed. I would be pissed if this was me on his neighborhood, because I have to do this as a business and I pay freaking Cox money to make sure that I got unlimited data upload. And just because I shouldn't have to be penalized for somebody else. Obviously, he shouldn't have to be penalized. That's my personal opinion, but it's kind of ridiculous. And also, Cox, while I'm talking to you directly, 35 megabits, is that really all you can freaking give me? Okay, I'm paying for a gigabit download. The only reason I have gigabit download is because I need your fastest upload speed, and that's the only way to get it. Even a business plan doesn't have a faster upload speed through you. What the heck are you doing? I guess I should probably actually look into like legitimate business grade internet, but that's for another time. So Cox Communications, their name says it all. But you know what hasn't been said all is the Last of Us story, because they're planning on doing an HBO series, and one of the directors who was responsible for 5 episodes of HBO's hit series Chernobyl is apparently going to be directing the pilot and stay on as an executive producer for the show. So in case you enjoyed Chernobyl, maybe that might make Last of Us somewhat tolerable. And getting Destiny to be tolerable is probably something that a lot of people want. I know Reese absolutely wants Destiny to be researched to its former glory. Well, they had an event earlier and they made a few key commitments. I'm not too into all of like the Destiny stuff that's going on, but a couple commitments that matter. Number one, they're going to give you free upgrades for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, which is really cool. And then they also mentioned that they are not going to repeat mistakes by making Destiny 3. They're just going to keep marching on with Destiny 2, announcing Destiny 2 Beyond Light this year, The Witch Queen for 2021, and Lightfall for 2022. So Destiny 2 for quite a few years, and then you can also move it up to the next gen consoles if you so happen to get one of those. And I'm happening to get a little bit excited because apparently Atlus is going to be at the PC gaming show this coming Saturday for some unknown reason. They now have a new creator page over on Steam. Obviously, they have Catherine Classic over on Steam. It's not the only game that is being rumored, because apparently Persona 5 is now hitting the rumors to come to PC, which I say is absolute bullcrap. It needs to come to Switch first. What the heck, Atlus? Nobody wants Persona on the PC more than they want it on the Switch, okay? We want a mobile form factor. I guess I could carry my laptop around, but I'd rather play it on the gosh dang Switch. If I could have Persona 5 on this, I would put in so many more hours. But no, I have to make sure I'm at a TV with my PS4, and it's ridiculous, okay? Stop doing this to me, Atlus, and freaking give me Persona 5 on the Switch. That's all I want, okay? And I'm not the only one. Look at this. Look here, Persona 5 on the Switch. This is what we want. This is what we want. I am thou art a bitch. Persona 5 is not coming to Switch. And you know what's not coming to the Space Force? The US Space Force. Apparently a trademark, because the Netflix show Space Force has gotten the first trademark for Space Force. Apparently the US military is not too worried about it, but Space Force trademark for a Netflix show. And what should be a Netflix show is how HTC fell from grace. I would be interested in that docuseries. All of the terrible business decisions they had made to go from the HTC One M8 to now, where they haven't released a phone in quite some time. Well, apparently a new one's coming on June 16th, the Desire 20. Not a lot of specs. This got posted by the HTC Taiwan Instagram account. So in a week, you can have a new HTC phone. Yay. Which is how I feel about this episode of Hot News being over. I'm kind of, muddled excitement. I get to move on with my life, but I have to be done with you. And that's not a good thing for me. But what is a good thing is today's video sponsor. And don't forget that this video is brought to you by Skillshare. Click the link in the video description to get 2 months for free for the first 1,000 people who do that. Skillshare, free learning, great beneficial big brain time. Do it, friends. And that's going to be the end of this episode. Let us know what you think of everything we talked about down below. 3080, 3090, all of that kind of good stuff. AMD Ryzen power stuff being shifted around. Just comment down below all your things. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this episode of Hot News. Get subscribed to stay up to date on all of our tech-related content. In case you didn't know, I have a Gator chair. Look at that. Go Gators. Really need to cut out this audio bleeding. Yeah, I don't like that.